musicals, I think.
Yeah.
Look at their status on Discord. I know it's a singular voice, Paul. You just got
Let it out, let it out, let it out.
Let it out, let it out.
Let it out, let it out.
Let it out. God help me if I let it. Ah! I don't know which specific note he does.
Yeah, right? I need to make a new magma session.
I used to be in choir.
Alright, we're gonna do a new thing, Mermay.
Going to draw so many fish.
So many fish.
With my mouse.
Mouse fish. This is our Mermay thing, right? Yes. Cool. Perfect. Okay. Open it back up. Thank you. Open a couple more drawings. And then we're going to make sure we got the file. We'll share. File share. There we go. Nope. That's not what I want. Share.
Where's your purse?
Invite to drawing. Copy link.
Yippee!
I know it's a singular voice bomb.
Voice. Yeah. Did it. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out.
I haven't listened to the musical in a long time.
Yeah.
That's
Occasionally I go on binges of watching people react to it. I think there's a reason why it entered meme status.
Yeah.
It is a funny musical, but also
funny,
very
but
dramatic
also,
when it needs
yeah.
to be.
It's like a really great blend.
Yeah. The concept of like a musical apocalypse is both hilarious and also a little bit terrifying once you think about the implications.
I don't want to think about the implications. Okay, running ads, and I just gotta fix the magma. New link. There we go. Save. Give the link to my partner.
Yippee! Oh, AO3 is back up.
Well, too bad. I have it up on Tumblr already.
That's fair. Oh, wait, no, it's down again. I clicked on a single button and it stopped working.
Underwater ambience music. I don't want to just listen to bubbles. Ocean aquarium.
It does sound very underwater.
Blah, 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 blah. A little better. Hi, shark.
Baby, no. No.
That's actually so funny because when I have Winnie alone in my room, like at night, I get into the habit of going, "Baby girl, do 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 do, baby girl, do do." Baby girl, do 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 do, baby girl, who's that girl, do 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 do? Being super silly. And while I do it, I usually pat her head in rhythm. Oh, this music reminds me of the start of Finding Nemo.
Hell yeah.
I should
Finding Nemo has great ambient.
Me too. I love Finding Nemo.
Yeah. I feel like as a kid, I went through a phase where I really liked Finding Nemo.
It's a great movie.
I remember, very distinctly remember, like, watching some of the behind-the-scenes, things, and hearing, one of the art directors, I don't remember who exactly because I was a kid and that stuff didn't matter to me.
Right.
But I remember hearing one of them be like, wanted to get very realistic fish, and then, like, the animators, like, presented their drawings and they're like, oh, wait, no, this is too realistic.
It's Uncanny Valley.
I think the thing was that, like, it was a problem because it, like, they couldn't figure out, like, it's hard to express with, like,
Yeah.
pure, it's hard to make expressions.
Yeah. Which is a issue they had with, Lion King. I cannot spell
one that they
tonight.
didn't care about.
I tried like 3 times to spell difficulties. Oh, VTube Studio, why do you do this to me every night? Why you always change your IP on me every night? Okay, I'm used to your antics now. You cannot pull
I'm
fast
used
one
to
on
it
me.
now.
We're live. Come join the fun. A magma is open for trying to. HTTP. What do you mean about HTTP? Twitch. Twitch.tv/Streambuds.
Streambuds.
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 Streambuds. Well, buds was
The Mermayverse.
The mermaid. The mermaiders. I just read the entire story in this weird voice. It's not quite woo, but it's up there. It's like
And everyone's like, oh, what are you doing?
It's like baby woo. It's like sippy towel. Awoo.
I feel like if Panda was here, he'd be like, oh my god, no.
Yeah. He'd very much hate my guts, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Ooh, lots of people. Hi, everybody. Sorry that we're late. My VTube Studio decided to override my... It's a lot of technical jargon, but basically, like, it saved over, like, all of my, like, VTuber, like, presets that I have, and it wouldn't load my model. But I had a backup. It just took me a second to figure out how the hell to apply it. We're all good. How is everybody?
Yay. How is everybody?
If you guys would like to join the magma, here is the link. Maybe? Thank you. Oh, things going fucky. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Alright. Just looking all my
Look at
checklists.
this nice... Look at this nice lavender color I found. This is great.
Ooh, that is nice. Alright, so that's where we were. I need to put a jacket on real fast because I'm cold.
Cold.
It's Mermay. So we're gonna read some Mermay stories.
Hell yeah.
Which which is really great because I haven't had a chance to read a lot of Cry stuff for Mermay. Because I feel like I'm always being Mermay doing my own shit. That I didn't work on at all this week. That's not true. I wrote a lot. I did the past 2 days I didn't work on what I wanted to work on. Because I was in an empty building and it was weird.
Ain't that the bitch?
Yeah. Hi! Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Oh, there's one more place I was gonna put a promo. I'm alive if y'all want bedtime stories.
Lost. I'm a lost toy. Why did I think of that?
HTTP Twitch.tv/StreamyBuddies.
Streambuds.
Streamybuddies.
Streamy. They were nominated for Streamy.
They were nominated for Streamy. Y'all let me know if the music is too loud.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little...
Or if there are any other technical issues, just in general.
Ooh. Ah, beautiful. There's actually an aquarium in the background of this music that I have playing. It's wonderful.
Hell yeah.
Alright. I think we're louder than our music. I'm just gonna turn it down just a little bit. Right there. Okay. Alright. So we're starting from the very beginning of the Mermay stories.
Yippee!
And here we go! An ending and a beginning. A cool breeze drifted over the ocean. The sun was setting, nearly fully gone, lighting up the water until it turned into liquid fire. The main beach was still dotted with families and couples, but this small section, rockier than the other, was closed to the public. That didn't stop the pair of teenagers from strolling down the sand. The couple was holding hands, neither of them looking any older than 16 or 17. The boy suddenly broke off, running forward towards a private dock extending off the beach. He turned back to look at the girl, grinning. "Come on!" The girl laughed. "Slow down, Chase." Chase laughed as well, stopping just before the dock. He pulled his gray cap off his head, ruffling his hair. His expression suddenly shifted into something more serious as he turned around to look at the setting sun. "Hurry up, Stacy. This is time sensitive." Stacy sped up to catch up with him. Once even with him, she sighed, brushing away flyaway strands of honey ginger hair that had escaped her ponytail. "It'd help if you'd explain what this is all about."
She used to be blonde. Oh my god, I changed her hair color. Oh my god. I forgot she used to be blonde.
Just like us looking at them earlier with Ollie.
Yeah, I forgot. She's supposed to be, like, in later stories, I make her, like, she's, like, Hispanic.
Oh, really?
So, like, did she... Yeah. Her last name is Aguado. That's a very Spanish name.
Yeah.
In fact, it's literally water.
Love it. It's funny how much a story, like, transforms over time and characters change before you even know it, you know?
I've written this over the course of 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. God, I can't believe, you started this in 2020.
Anyway.
It'd help if you explain what this is all about. I told you, it's a surprise, Chase insisted. Besides, I don't know how to explain it. How I'd explain it. You need to see it. He started walking down to the dock. "Come on." This music's getting too loud and drony in my ear. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Turn it down, turn it down. Turn down for what?
That's not even how it goes. Wow.
Something like that.
Something like that. The two of them walked all the way to the end, where they sat down, dangling their feet over the water. Stacy sighed, a smile drifting across her face. "It's beautiful." "The sunset?" Chase asked. "Yeah. They're always good on the sea, but this is especially pretty." Chase nodded in agreement. "Hey, Stacy, do you remember when we met?" Mickleton. Stacy laughed. Yeah, just over there. She waved down the beach towards the more public section. You know, I thought you were acting a bit weird at first, she confided. But that was before we really knew each other. If I'd known about the illness, I would have been nicer. You were plenty nice, Chase assured her. I was a bit of a weirdo. I'm surprised you didn't laugh and walk away. Still, Stacy scooted closer to Chase. You know, you're a good kind of weirdo. Chase laughed. Thanks. For a moment, the serious expression returned. Did you know that was a year ago? Really? Huh. Stacy shrugged. No, I didn't. Then again, summer beach days all blur together for me. It was actually a year and a day ago, Chase said. Would you think I was the bad kind of weird if I said I'd seen you before that? I mean, I guess it depends in what way. Stacy was still smiling, but it faded a bit. Like if you were following me around, or if you just ran into me, or... I mean, like, I saw you when you came to the beach, Chase explained. He looked down, playing with his hands. With all your friends. I could hear what you were saying sometimes, and I wanted to get to know you better. But I couldn't. I know how that might sound, and I didn't mean anything of it. I just wanted to know you. I didn't think we'd end up, dating for 5 months, Stacy asked. Exactly. Chase looked at her, placing his hand on top of hers. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Stacy raised an eyebrow. Is this going somewhere, Chase? We sneak into a closed beach at sunset a year after we met? Were you planning this for a while? Chase looked over at the sunset. The orb of the sun was almost completely under the waves. I mean, yeah. Look, you're gonna have to roll with me for a bit. He took off his cap. Cape is Merman. He took off his cap, placing it beside him, and then slid off the dock into the water, briefly disappearing under the surface. He stayed down under there for a second. When he popped back up, he threw his shirt, pants, and sandals up onto the dock. Hi, baby. Whoa, Chase! Stacy leaned back, pulling her legs up into the dock. I know but I didn't think I don't think I'm up for anything right now.
Peelers.
Hi, Dad.
More peelers.
Thank you. And I got M&M's. Thank you. Are you guys here?
Num-num-nums.
What?
I have nothing Winnie if you want to stay with me. You're live on stream. Not your face, just your voice. You gonna go with Dad or stay with me? You stay with me? Okay. You wanna listen to a bedtime story? Well, you're trapped now. Okay, I got candy.
Hell yeah.
Alright, let me do that line read again. I love how as soon as I start reading a line, my dad comes in and burps. If Tifa was here, they would have burst out laughing.
Burst out laughing, exactly.
He stayed down under there for a second. When he popped back up, he threw his shirt, pants, and sandals up onto the dock. Whoa, Chase! Stacey leaned back, pulling her legs back onto the dock. I know but I don't think I'm up for anything right now. No. I'm not asking you to get in the water, too. Chase hurried to say. I just need to show you something. Stacy raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound much better. Trust me, it's not what you're thinking. Chase looked back at the sunset, watching us last... What'd you say?
His dick!
His dick! Yeah, in this moment right now, it's just floating there.
Oh my god.
He's freeballing it.
Let me
Free Willy!
No!
Alright, anyway.
Oh god. Anyway.
Trust me, it's not what you're thinking. Chase looked back at the sunset, watching as the last hint of sun disappeared. He glanced back at Stacy. Just don't freak out. And he ducked under the water with a splash. Stacy was left staring at the spot where he disappeared. Left staring for a long time. A long enough time to get worried. She scooted closer to the dock edge, looking down into the water. Something white and orange splashed out of the water. Stacey yelped, drawing back. Chase burst out of the water, shaking his head and causing drops of water to fly everywhere. He smiled up at her. Okay, you're saying I'm weird? This is the weirdest part of me. Chase, what? Stacey cut herself off. Her eyes widened. Chase looked different. There were little orange fins on the side of his head. She gasped. What the fuck? Yeah, I know this is a shock. Chase smiled softly. He grabbed the edge of the dock and lifted himself a little bit out of the water. There were some orange fins on his wrists and white scales across his chest and upper arms. So, yeah, I'm not exactly normal. Stacey gasped. You're a mermaid? Chase frowned. Well, no, because I'm a guy. I'm a merman. Or if you just want to use the general neutral term, I'm a merm. But, yeah. Stacey stared at him. She wondered if this was some kind of prank, if Chase was wearing some kind of makeup, but no. The fins and scales were real. Her entire world shifted. I didn't know you were real. Well, yeah, we are. Chase laughed nervously. I guess it makes sense now why my favorite movie is Finding Nemo. His tail flashed out of the water, orange and white and black. Orange with white and black. How did you were walking, Stacey stammered. You went to school. Wait, her eyes widened. Oh my god, there was never an illness, was there? You mean the one that kept me home most of my life and was the reason I couldn't walk right? No, I made that up. Chase admitted. There had to be a reason why I didn't know anything. How did you have legs, though? Well, I think Hans Richard Andersen must have known more than most people would think, Chase said. He got things really right. So you met a sea witch? Stacey asked. I mean, he lives in a lake, but yeah, I guess you could call him a witch. Chase shrugged. He's a friend of mine. He lifted himself further out of the water. Hey, Stacey, I told you I saw you at the beach. Understandable reaction. Yeah. They should be really realistic, honestly.
Your boyfriend's a mermaid. How do you feel about that?
Surprise! Hey, Stacey, I told you I saw you at the beach. I wanted to get to know you, but, well, it was impossible to do that when I'm like this. His tone lowered. There aren't a lot of merms left, Stace. We can't risk humans finding us. For good reason, too. But you seem so cool and funny, and you're so active, and I love how you just live life to the fullest, and just really care about people, and you're a lot smarter than you think, He shook his head. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, I wanted to know you, so I went upstream to visit my friend and asked him if he knew a way I could. So he turned you human? Stacey asked softly. Not permanently, Chase said. Just for a year and a day. There's a spell to permanently make the transformation to human, but it's difficult and irreversible. He wanted me to be sure, but the designated time period has passed and the spell's worn off. I have to decide if I want to become human forever. Stacey laughed awkwardly. Well, it seemed like you had a good time, but do you want to? Actually, Chase smiled sadly. I don't think I would. It's not as great for me as you think. I love some of the stuff up here, but, in the original Little Mermaid, she felt like she was walking on knives all the time. It's a bit like that. It's not normal for me to walk, Stace. I don't think I can get used to it. And everything is loud and bright and close together. The only reason I would really want to stay is Chase reached up and took Stacey's hand. If you would stay with me. Stacey blinked. Stay with you? You mean forever? If you want to, of course, Chase said. He looked up at her, eyes shining. But I love you, Stacey. I love your charm, I love your zest for life, I love when your gentle side comes out. I think living on land would be worth it, if it was with you. Stacey stared at him, mouth gaping. She didn't know what to say. She couldn't lie, she was touched by Chase's passion. And she loved him, too. She loved his sense of humor, his kindness, his determination, but... Chase's face fell, picking up on her tone. Do you not feel... No, Chase, I love you. She squeezed his hand. But I'm 17. I know I like to do some things people would call rebellious, but No, I know I'm just 17. I still live with my mom. I still have to go to college. I can't commit to this. What if we found out we weren't as good for each other? We'd have to separate and you'd be left here on land where you don't want to be, constantly hurting? I can't do that to you, Chase. To either of us. Chase's eyes dulled. The fins on the side of his head seemed to droop. Stacey smiled at him. Hey, tell you what. Let's meet up again in 4 or 5 years. We can meet here, on this beach, and see if anything's changed. Chase bit his lip. He nodded slowly at first, and then more enthusiastically. Okay. 4 or 5 years. We'll meet up on the same day. He smiled at her. I'll wait. I'll wait too. Stacey leaned down. Chase, can I kiss you? Yes, he breathed. She closed the distance, pressing her lips against his. They were wet, but otherwise still felt the same as ever. They lingered for a moment before both pulling away. Chase smiled at her. I'll see you then, he whispered. Stacey picked up his cap, placing it on top of his head. I'll see you. She smiled as well. Chase pulled the cap down over his wet hair, backing away from her. He waved and ducked underwater. His tail flipped over the surface, and then he disappeared under the water with barely a splash. Oh, it's so cute.
That was really cute. I forgot how cute. I'm
love
such a good writer.
Man, I'm so good at this.
Amazing.
You very much are.
Yeah. I'm very aware. Some writers are like, no, I'm not as good. I'm like, I've always been very confident in myself.
That's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to make a VTube like toggle where I can just like reach over and like pat your head.
I mean, there's the head pap.
Yeah. Be nice. I have you like sitting right next to me. It'd be nice to just like pat.
Just lean over.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually been thinking about looking to see if I could do hand rigging, but also that looks really hard. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to set up a second webcam or something, which I've also been thinking about setting one up so we have a Winnie cam. But that would depend if she stays in the same place or not. Hi, baby.
People love animal cams. I know that.
I meant to look for my webcam this week so I can set that up in the next hour. To be fair, we've had a crazy week. Since Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll catch up next week. Someone put that on my to-do list. I.e. me. Write that down.
Write that down. Write that down.
I have a little notepad that has all like the VODs I need to like upload and stuff. And also cookie run battle strategies I see.
Hell yeah.
It's for boss rush. Find webcam for Winnie channel point. Okay, now I won't forget. Cool. Alright, chapter 2. Starlight, Star Bright.
Chapter 2.
Henrik! Sneep! Hey, I know you're in there! Come on out! Sneep recognized that voice. He debated staying inside and ignoring him, but evidently he poked his head out from under the rocks. He was greeted by a caudal fin to the face. With a yelp, he withdrew back into the cave entrance, scowling. You did that on purpose, he muttered. Jackie grinned at him. Actually, no, but it was a perk. He turned around, swimming back and forth through the open water. Grumbling, Sneep inched forward out of the cave, stopping halfway. So, what do you need me to patch up now? Oh, come on! Do I really only come to visit you because I need you to fix me up? Jackie whined. Yes, Sneep said curtly. Oh. Jackie momentarily stopped swimming and then started up again. Well, I'm sorry, I guess, but, he laughed awkwardly. For today, he held out his arm. He was wrapped in seaweed, which he'd pulled back. A long gash split down the side. Sneep sighed. All right, give me a minute. He pulled back into the cave. A few minutes later, he popped back out, now holding a human-made bag with a red cross on it. He climbed out from under the rocks and onto the sand, tentacles spreading out. Stop pacing, you anxious lemon. I have to keep swimming, Jackie whined. If I don't swim, I die! You are a merm who is part shark, not actually a shark. Sneep rolled his eyes. It is very different. Now stay still so I can take care of that cut. Jackie stopped, though his tail kept swishing back and forth, like a dog. He let Sneep gently grab...
ADHD.
Yeah. He let Sheep gently grab his arm. Mermay. He let Sheep gently grab his arm and proceeded to turn it around as he examined the gash. It didn't look too deep, but it could easily get infected. Sheep reached inside his bag and pulled out a glass jar full of greenish paste. He unscrewed the top and proceeded to start dabbing the paste on the gash. Jackie hissed. Can we at least go inside while we do this? Sure, Sheep said, not looking up. If you can manage to squeeze in. Jackie groaned. This is discrimination! Chase and Jack can get through the entrance. They do not have dorsal fins. Jack does! They don't have dorsal fins made of cartilage. Jackie rolled his eyes. You know what? Fine. It's probably tiny and cramped in there. Sheep grinned. I assure you it is not. Only the entrance. Oh, come on! A few minutes later, the cut had been cleaned and covered up with stretchy white bandages from the human world. Sheep counted himself lucky that he'd found a few human packages discarded on the ocean floor, presumably from a ship passing overhead. He quickly found that the packages contained various human medical supplies. While Sheep hated the carelessness of throwing things overboard, he'd been happy to find this particular discarding. Medical care was lacking in the secure bandaging department. There. All good? Sheep asked, backing away. Jackie flexed his arm, immediately wincing, but he nodded. Yeah, thanks, Hen. It's not a problem. Sheep put the bandages and jar back in the bag, slinging it over his shoulder. Jackie suddenly got a glint in his eyes. Before Sheep could comment on it, Jackie darted forward, grabbing Sheep by his wrist. Come on! And then he turned and darted away, dragging Sheep with him. What? Jackie! Sheep pulled against the sudden motion, but Jackie was very, very fast. He ended up clinging to Jackie as he swam. What are you doing? I want to show you something! Jackie laughed. I mean, hey, I might as well, for all the times you patched me up. You cannot have told me before you decided to go, Jackie. Slow down! Nope, hold on tighter. Sheep yelped as Jackie sped up, wrapping his arms around Jackie's torso. He realized that they were heading up, the dark waters becoming clearer. Until soon, they broke the surface of the waves. Sheep sputtered as the sudden change from air to water. Need for speed. I know that's a typo, but I also love it. Speeb.
Speeb.
That's my new favorite word. Speeb.
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 I have a neeb.
Now it's on purpose.
Neeb for speeb.
All right. Well, now I really love it. Speeb. Speeb.
Speeb.
Can you tell we're ADHD content creators? Speeb. Speeb. Okay, I'm focusing. Need for speed. Okay. Steve sputtered at the sudden change from water to air and clung tighter to Jackie. Hey, Squishy, open your eyes. Jackie nudged. I tell you to not call me that, Steve muttered, but he opened his eyes anyway. They swam close to the shoreline, to a shoreline, which was a surprise. Schneep's cave was out in the reef, surrounded by open ocean. Jackie was a fast swimmer, but that was impressive. Schneep could see the lights of a human pier, and he instinctively shrunk away. He looked around, searching to see if anything else was around, and while doing so, he looked up. His breath caught in his throat. Oh. Jackie looked up as well. Oh, nice night out. Very clear. Beautiful. Schneep breathed. You mean the stars? Schneep nodded. Look at that! So many lights, stark white light glowing against the dark navy velvet of the sky. They reflected in his wide eyes as he stared. Jackie tilted his head. You don't come up to the surface a lot, huh? Never. Schneep shook his head. Not since. He trailed off. Schneep didn't talk a lot about his life before Jackie knew him. There must be something there. Something that he didn't discuss for good reason. Well, they are pretty, Jackie smiled. But there's something even better coming up soon. Really? Keep your eyes on the sky if you want, Squishy. Schneep made an irritated noise. I told you not to. He suddenly stopped. There was a strange whistling sound. He looked towards the shoreline and the cluster of human lights. Something was sailing up into the sky. And then there was a burst of red light, sparks flying in all directions. The burst of light was followed by a loud bang! Schneep gasped. They're called fireworks, Jackie explained, lighting up pure joy. They do this every week this season. Oh! Schneep watched as another one burst, this one green and more circular. Perhaps I would like to see this again. It's fun, isn't it? Almost always a little different. He looked over at Sheep. I can bring you whenever you want, you know. You need to get out of the reef more. Sheep rolled his eyes. Well, at least I'm not out being reckless and getting cut up by rocks. I'd take offense to that. Good. They both burst into fits of giggles. The fireworks shot high in the sky, cascades of bright white, followed by bursts of red and pink, green and blue. The humans on the shore watched happily, unaware of the two merms treading water, watching the show with wide eyes. Oh. I love Jackie and Sheep. They are good friends.
Yeah. They're great friends.
You good friends. Sorry, I went to go check messages real fast.
Friends.
Fams.
Yeah.
Okay. Chapter 3. The trench. Swimming in the open ocean had its fair share of dangers. Jack didn't go out there often for that reason. He liked to sit close to the shoreline where the water was warm. But every so often he decided to break up routine and go explore. Hey Sam, be careful! Jackie laughed as he watched the little discus attempt to do a flip in the water. Sam shook herself, then swam back to Jack and bumped against his chest. He smiled down at her. You're a tiny little fish in the middle of the open ocean. You could get lost. Sam ducked down, pouting. She then proceeded to swim away as fast as she possibly could, which was not that fast. Jack chuckled, easily keeping pace. The current suddenly shifted. Jack stopped, looking around. They were in the middle of a mostly empty spot with some large rocks. There weren't a lot of fish around, just a school of silvery ones passing by. And in the distance there was something that was coming closer. Jack squinted, then his eyes widened. Sam, we gotta get out of here! Sam looked at him and tilted to the side, puzzled. Giant squid coming! Jack darted to the ocean floor. Giant squid. There weren't a lot of them, but there were enough. Some of them got big enough to prey on seals, or merms if they wanted. Sam yanked on a few strands of seaweed, twisting them together. He swam back up to where Sam was. Get in the bag, he said, and she quickly swam inside. Once he was sure she was secure, he started swimming as fast as he could away from the squid. But when he glanced over his shoulder, it was closer. He tried to go faster, but it was still closer. He looked around. Come on! There had to be a safe place to hide somewhere. Rocks? Not much cover. Then he spotted a crack in the ocean floor. He dived down, tail pumping hard, and swam right into the trench. He stopped in the trench, hiding beneath a spot where the opening created an overhang. His skills working hard, he looked up as a mass of pale tentacles passed right overhead, blocking out the sunlight. It seemed to pass by forever. When he was gone, he slumped in relief. When it was gone, he slumped in relief. Alright, I think we should wait a bit longer, Sam, just in case he saw us. He patted the makeshift seaweed bag, but didn't feel Sam inside. His heart stopped. He pulled up the bag, looking inside. There was no tiny discus inside. Sam? He looked around for a speck of bright green. Sam? Then he looked down, just in time to see something small disappearing in the shadows of the trench. Oh, no, this was bad. Sam was aquarium bred. She had no idea how to survive on her own. The only reason she was out here was because some careless human bored of pet fish had dumped their school of pet discus in the ocean, thinking they would be okay, but they weren't. By the time Jack found Sam, she was the only one still alive. He had to take care of her. Sam, stop! Stay there! I'll come get you! He dived down deeper. The seaweed above was bioluminescent, as he found when he swam deeper into darkness.
It's always greener. Somebody else's leg.
His makeshift bag started glowing. The shadows of the trench grew deeper and deeper. He looked back up and saw the opening was a thin blue line overhead. A few moments later, he looked back up again and couldn't see anything but pitch black water. He shivered, sticking close to the trench wall. Sam? Sam? He called. Sam, where are you? Sam, come here! I can make a guess who lives here. I wonder. What Jacksepticeye character will live in the deep darkness?
The deep dark down, deep down.
The deep dark down, deep down. There we go. After what felt like forever, something moved in his bubble of light, created by the glowing seaweed. Sam was huddling against the wall. Sam! He huddled down to... Who is the darkest, edgiest boy? I wonder. Sam! He huddled down to her in turn, looking over her to see if there was any damage. There was not. He sighed in relief. Why'd you swim down? Look at this, it's dark. Who knows what's down here? Sam swum close. Sam swum is hard to say. Sam swum close to Jack. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam,
you are correct.
Sam swam close to Jack. She could tell she was shaking. I guess the squid really scared you, huh? Well, don't worry, it's gone now. Just don't do it again. Jack held the bag open again, and she swam inside. Let's get out of here. He turned and began swimming up, or at least he hoped it was up. It was hard to tell, with there being darkness everywhere. He pulled off a bit of the seaweed and dropped it, watching it float down. Yep, he was heading in the right direction. There was gravity. The piece of seaweed drifted downward, lighting up the trench wall as it went. It passed by a small opening, lighting it up briefly. Jack watched it fall, and then there was movement. A hand darted out from the opening in the trench wall, grabbing the seaweed as it floated past. A hand tipped with claws. Jack froze. His eyes were glued in place as another hand came out of the opening, each hand followed by arms. They grabbed the rock of the trench wall, and a merm pulled himself out of the opening. The merm looked at the seaweed he was holding and then looked up. Jack felt the glowing green eyes land on him. Jack took off, swimming upward as fast as he could. Behind him he heard a snarl, and the current shifted as the merm followed him. He didn't dare look behind him. He clutched Sam to the bag in his chest and kept swimming, tail propelling him upward. There were some snarls and growls behind him. They were getting closer. He pushed as hard as he could. There's light at the top. He could see it. He was almost there. Just keep going up, up, up. He burst out of the trench and into the open ocean. For a moment, he felt relief, and then something grabbed the end of his tail. He yelled and looked down. It was the merm. An eel, he recognized now. An eel with a green tint to his skin and hair. Dark tail cutting through the water. He was holding his tail. The eel smiled and his eyes glowed brighter. Sudden bright, crackling light, electricity, Jack realized, raced up the eel's arm and through his hands into Jack's tail. Jack screamed and flailed wildly, somehow managing to shake off the eel's grip. He went tumbling through the water for a while before landing on the ocean floor, setting up a cloud of sand. He blinked through the particles, looking back at the trench in fear. The eel... Jack was about to be a meal. The eel merm smiled and seemed to wave at him, and then he ducked down back into the trench. Jack laid down on the ocean floor, feeling stunned. His tail was throbbing with the aftermath of the shock. He might have talked to Shanice about that. What had that eel wanted? Sam managed to swim out of the bag and darted around to hover in front of Jack's face. She got a little closer, stopping a little ways away from Jack's nose, letting her fins tickle his skin. He laughed, and a wheezing sound. I think we should head home, Sam, he said. That's enough excitement for today. Oh, yay! Marvin time.
Marvin time. Marvin time. Marvin time. Do Marvin time.
Marvin time. Marvin time. Oh, I didn't realize you changed your name on Discord.
Yep. Need for speed.
Need for speed. This is what happens when our friends have joined us for stream. They don't know our inside jokes. Marvin didn't... Oh, this is called the lake monster. Marvin didn't like to hang out near the lake shore, and now he was reminded why. He peeked out of the water, his eyes hovering over the surface. It was evening, and a group of teenagers had lit a bonfire on the sandy beach. He could hear them shouting over the water, loud music playing from a small device hooked up to two larger devices he had heard called speakers. As he watched, one of them crushed a can under their foot and tossed it into the water. Damn it, he muttered, diving back under. He picked up the crushed can and swam back up, hurtling back towards the shore where it landed in the sand. None of the teenagers seemed to notice. Marvin scowled, turning around and diving down to the bottom. The end of his pectoral fins brushed against the sand and rocks. He could go back down to the depths and hope they went away. The lake was deep enough that any noise caused by the teenagers would fade away. But the lake was his. It was his, and he hated anything being in there that he didn't know about, especially if those things were harmful. He checked every day for anything odd, stopping by the mouths of the 2 rivers that fed into the lake and the mouth of the river that flowed out, just to see if there's anything new. There's a slight splash as a half-empty plastic bag hit the lake, floating on the surface and spilling out yellow bits of food. Marvin glared at the offending bag, swimming up to gather together the chips and shove them back in the bag. He crumpled the bag back up and threw it back at the shore. Fine. These guys wanted to mess with this lake? He'd show them. He just had to make a quick stop. The deepest center of the lake, there was a formation of rocks, slabs set up in a crude formation of walls and a roof, surrounded by a forest of seaweed. Marvin swam inside. The interior was lit up by glowing stars, the remains of sea stars that drifted upstream, enchanted to glow various colors. Marvin sorted through his things and picked out a stone, smooth except for symbols carved on it. He grinned and swam back up to the surface, riding the currents close to the shore. My mouth is getting sticky.
That's what happens when you talk a lot, I know that.
Yeah. You know my plight. The teenagers were still playing loud music, somehow having grown more rowdy and loud. He glared and turned the fist-sized stone over in his hands. He muttered a few words, and the stone and his eyes lit up, seafoam green. The water around him swirled, glowing the same shade. And then a stream of water shot from the lake, flying over the shore and hitting one of the teenagers square in the back of the head. Marvin laughed as he watched the teen spin around in confusion, shouting at the others. He repeated this whispered phrase, and another stream of water hit another teen in the leg. That one backed up, yelling at first. He repeated it a few more times, but to his surprise, the group didn't seem much inclined to leave. They just seemed confused. Well, that wouldn't do. Marvin swam a bit closer to the shore, slinking down to a point where the water just barely covered him while he lay on the lake floor. He took a deep breath, clutching the stone closer, and he started to chant. The water around him started to glow, and the glow spread out along the shore until the waves lapping at the sand were all luminescent. The group of teenagers pointed at it and shouted some more. They seemed more fascinated than anything, and a few crept closer to awe, until the water suddenly surged up to the shore, wrapping around the ankles of the nearest teen. That one yelled and stumbled back. "It's hot!" they shouted. Indeed it was. Steam was starting to rise from the glowing water and continued onto the shore. A few other teens stuck their hand in it, only to jerk back and also yelled that the water was hot. Classic instinct. You said it's hot? Let me try. Ow! Fuck, it's hot!
I can't believe it's hot!
Why did you warn me, dude? I did!
Ah, frick, it's hot here.
Fuck, it's hot here! Fuck, it's hot here! Game Grumps.
Da-da-da-da-da.
The final straw came when the waves hit the speakers in the small device. One of the teens screamed, descriptive of the device in the speakers. The loud music died, and the teens slowly backed up, then turned and left, slinking inward. Marvin stopped chanting, and the water stopped glowing. It cooled down and retreated to its normal position. There. No more young humans throwing stuff in his lake. But it felt like he'd almost depleted this power stone. With a flick of his tail, he turned around and headed home. He placed the power stone on a rock slab among other round rocks carved with symbols. They were all perfectly smooth, though they varied in shape and size. He went around rummaging through the rest of his stuff, making sure no fish had wandered inside and started to mess with it. No, his spells were still there, symbols dyed on preserved seaweed and carved into thin stone slabs. There were no fish in his sleeping area, hiding amongst the algae and seaweed. His bowls and cauldron hadn't been moved, and neither had the jars containing his ingredients. His mask, made of thin, rough-hewn ceramic, was still in its place. Merman sighed, satisfied. Everything was as it should be. Now he could finally go to sleep. He swam over to the cluster of various lake plants that served as his sleeping area, curling up on the lake bed. Not too bad a day, he supposed, in the end. We need some dramatic music. As much as I like this one, this one's too smooth.
It's too chill.
Too chill.
Too chill. Well, how do you have dramatic
ocean music?
Underwater music? Ocean man, take me by the hand.
No. Oh no, that title ain't good. Yeah, no, not really.
Nope.
Underwater.
There's one ego who I love to torture in particular.
And every single AU they have.
I can't help it. He's like a little plushie that you squeeze.
I mean, me and Alt, man.
Yeah. By the way, look at the fish. Look at the fish.
The fish are turning out so good.
Yeah, I'm looking at references.
Perfect. This one's called Thalassophobia. Dark underwater ambient immersive horror atmosphere. Perfect.
Well.
Give the poor dapper boy a break, lol. Never!
No. I'm kidding. Of course he gets a break. He gets a break afterwards.
Yeah. He has to get hurt first and then he gets aftercare. That's how it works.
That's how writing works. Legit though, like if you torture your characters too much, then unless that's the point of the story, then it just gets exhausting, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking about not Inverted, but Stitched. Like, Jameson goes through the ringer there, but he comes out stronger.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All of them go through the ringer. None of them are safe. That story's fucked. But so good.
Yeah,
Go read Stitched.
That was like one of my more angsty stories, I feel like.
Yeah, but so good. Oh my god, so great.
Yeah.
Also Inverted. Just so many good stories.
I am a great writer. I'm amazing.
Yeah, you are. Alright. This one's called Cut. Boats were a normal thing in the river. Jameson was used to them. They weren't too hard to avoid. All he had to do was bury himself in the sand and wait until he could no longer feel them affecting the currents. But this was a different sort of boat. For one thing, it was moving a lot faster than the others. He felt the current only a couple minutes before it actually arrived. For another, the boat was dragging something behind it. Something that spanned the entire length of the river. Jameson paused where he was, squinting at the thing the boat was dragging. Then he snapped out of it, shaking himself. He had to hide. The boat was coming quick. It was nearly 20 feet away. He dived into the sand along the river bottom, starting to wriggle underneath. Something rammed into his side. Jameson was thrown away from the riverbed, flung into the water just before something else hit him. He attacked instinctively, his tail lashed out at the thing. What was it? It was long and thin, and there were a lot of them. There was sand in the water, clouding his vision. The thing in the water was dark strands, but he couldn't see much beyond that. The thing hit him again. What was it? The strands? Well, no matter what, he had to get out of here. Jameson dove downwards, back towards the riverbed, hands scrambling at the grit of the sand. There was a metal bar dragged across the bed, breaking his grip. The strands enveloped him. He yelped in surprise, pushing at the strands, which he was realizing were woven together. He managed to escape the clutches of it. It was a net! The boat was dragging a net behind it! His heart froze, and then, when its pulse resumed, it pounded twice as fast. He switched tactics. The riverbed was no longer safe. He had to outrun the net. He waved his tail as hard as he could, arms and wings pushing at the water as he swam, managing to deeply escape its clutches. Deeply? Where did deeply come from?
Deeply? I don't know.
Managing to momentarily escape its clutches. But he wasn't fast. The reprieve was only lasted half a minute before the net attached to the speeding boat caught up again. The woven mesh wrapped around him. He yelped. His tail thrashed, tangling itself in the strands even further, no matter how much he tried. Jameson's mind was racing. Okay, he couldn't outrun it or hide from it. Maybe he could break free by force. He started pulling at the knots. He bit at the strands with gnashing teeth. His tail kept thrashing, trying to free itself or tear through. Rip through the net! Rip through it! Please! The boat didn't seem bothered by the added weight in the net. It kept speeding along. And as it drove through the river waves, Jameson found himself pulled with it. He kept struggling, biting, and tearing at the net, but every effort just tangled him further as he tumbled through the waves left in the boat's wake. Soon he lost track of where he was or what he was doing. The water was clouded with sand and bubbles, the current tossing him about and disorienting him further. All he knew was that he had to get out. He had to! The net was wrapping tight around him, tight around his tail, tight around his arms and wings, tight around his neck. But it was too much, too much, too much! He stopped thrashing and let the net carry him wherever it wanted. When the boat finally slowed, he tried to resume his struggles, but he was too tangled now. The net wrapped around his torso, pinning his arms and wings and arms. His tail was folded in on itself, useless for swimming. And there was a strand around his neck that was uncomfortably strained. He paused, breathing heavily in the water. And then the strands of the net started pulling taunt.
Taut, I think.
It's supposed to be taut, yeah.
Like,
I do the same thing. I think I'm writing taut, and then I write taunt. And the strands of the net started pulling taunt. What are words?
Taut.
Yeah,
taut,
I know.
The synonym of... It sounds like taught, like the past tense of teach.
Yeah. Davis's eyes widened and he tried to wiggle free once more to no avail. The net around his throat was pulling tighter, painfully tighter. The net hauled him out of the river. The moment he broke the surface, he started gasping. He couldn't breathe. That wasn't right. Air and water were the same to him. He should be able to adjust to air. No, it was the net. The strand wound around his neck was crushing his windpipe. There was nothing he could do about it. He was too tangled in the mesh. Davison landed on something solid. The pressure from the net loosened, though he was still knotted up in it. The strand around his neck was still too tight. He lay limp, gasping for breath. He squeezed his eyes shut against the bright, unfiltered sunlight. What is it? I don't know, man. It looks like a giant ray. Like a stingray? Are those in this river? I don't know, man. Stop saying I don't know. We get it. You're a dumbass. Hey! 3 voices. They were speaking. Oh, he didn't know the name of the language, but it was one of the human ones. Of course it was. Jason cracked open his eyelids a bit, making out 3 human figures. If he had to guess, he'd say there were 2 men and 1 woman, according to the timbre of their voices. His eyes adjusted slowly to the new light. Once he could see enough, he looked around. He must be on the boat, with the humans. His eyes snapped open, fully alarmed. He tried thrashing about again. His tail managed to pull free a bit, but his arms and wings were still wrapped up. Whoa, hey, watch out! One of the human men backed up, pushing the other one behind him, but the human woman took a step closer. Cynthia, what are you doing? It has a face, the human woman said. You mean, like, in the patterns? The other human man asked. No, I mean right there. The woman reached forward, brushing wet strands of hair out of Jameson's face. His eyes darted up to her face, narrowing. She gasped softly. Oh my god. And she backed up, her eyes scanning the strange fish they caught in their nets. Guys, you're not gonna believe this, but I think we just caught a mermaid. The 2 men inched closer, watching Jameson squirm on the deck of their boat. Holy shit! One said, holy fucking shit, you're right! The other one looked confused. Does it have a mustache? The woman looked excited. Guys, this is so much bigger than anything else we were looking to find. Imagine what we could do with this! The first man grinned. Which company do you think would pay the most for this? Fear surged through Jameson's veins, ice cold. No. Great idea, Zach, but I have a better one. Oren rubbed her hands gleefully. If we do that, we can just get a one-time payment. We could milk this. Not just fortune, but fame, too. The second man grunted. If it doesn't roll off the side. Jameson intensified his efforts to get away at that. Come on, it couldn't be that far. What? A woman shrieked. I got it. The second man stuck closer. Jameson glared at him. He tried to shout out a warning, but even if they couldn't speak the language, it might get the point across. But all that came out was a raspy, hissing sound. Pain surged in his throat. The human didn't seem deterred. He reached out. In panic, Jameson thrashed his tail, hitting the man in the arm. He cried out and backed out. It hit me! The man said, cradling his arm. Did it stab me or something? It's part stingray, Kevin, you absolute moron. The other man said, rolling his eyes.
Of course his name is Kevin.
It stung you. Duh. Now you can look forward to a bunch of puking and diarrhea, not to mention more pain. Oh. Here, I have a better idea. Synth, can you open that cooler? It's built in, and pretty big. The one disappeared from view. The first man bent over, starting to fiddle with something. The net pulled taut again. Jameson cried out, or tried to, and struggled further, but the net dragged him across the deck of the boat. No, it wasn't the net. It was the 2 human men who were using the net to pull him further onto the boat. He thrashed, trying to get free. If he could just get a hand, he could grab onto something. Too late. He rolled into a rectangular opening in the deck of the boat, landing with a splash in a cramped compartment full of chill water. He looked up, catching a glimpse of the three humans before the lid of the compartment swung shut. He heard the sound of something being dragged over it. Jason tried to scream at them to let him out, but nothing happened. Only a flare of pain in his throat. He banged against the sides of the compartment, but with his tail and torso, his arms still tangled up in the net. But the walls were solid. There's nothing he could do. After a while, he stopped. He was stuck. Maybe in the future there would be a way out, but right now, he was caught in a human's net.
You know, great choice of the ominous soundtrack.
Huh? Good choice of the If we did the happy woo, it'd be a completely different ambiance.
Yeah, it's a tonal whiplash.
I'm gonna go back and forth depending on the story.
Anyway, there's a shark.
Yeah! I'm gonna take a quick break to go get some more water. So we're gonna run an ad real fast, and then we'll be back.
Yeah, I'll also go get some water.
Alright, listen to the soothing sounds and look at Cry's fish. We'll be right back.
Be right back. Why on the freaking preview? On the freaking preview of the thing, of the magma, there's no. It didn't show me erasing the friggin' aligning on Twitch.
What's up?
Oh, I'm just like, for some reason, like, the preview of the magma is different from, like, the magma on my screen on Twitch.
Because I accidentally clicked off of it to change the music.
Yeah, it's just like, it was just like one line, it's fine.
Oh. There we go. Wonder if I should open up stream avatars. It's been a while.
Stream avatar?
Yeah, so like people who are watching can do fun stuff with their little avatars.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't use it very often because like it when we're running like a regular game, it can overload my computer. But since we're just doing browser stuff, I don't know. What's
anyway,
up, what you're
also Hamlet is here.
Hamlet!
Hamlet is here! For those of you who don't know, chat, Hamlet is my sister's cat, and I love him, and I should have been the one to keep him instead of her. No, that feels mean. That feels mean.
Oh, that's right. You love him so much.
Yeah. I do. Well, I get why. Because, like, she lives somewhere else. We already have 2 cats here at our house. So, like, it would be a lot. Yeah. You know, actually, funny story. I don't know if I've told you this, but, like, the whole, like, thing with, like, Hamlet, like, OJ getting Hamlet was, shortly before I went to visit you.
Oh, really?
And my mom was like, I'm sorry, do you want to go get a kitten? You can go get a kitten right now. And I'm like, Mom, I'm about to leave for a week.
Oh my god.
Like, I get your attentions, thank you. But also, I think you need to work on your timing.
But do I see my girlfriend?
Exactly.
Select YouTube stream. I'm not doing YouTube. Do I actually have a set on YouTube? Cancel. I gotta remember how to do this. Yeah, no, I should be on Twitch.
How to do what?
Twitch avatars. Or stream avatars.
Okay.
For some reason it wants me to... Okay. To stream on YouTube. We don't stream on YouTube. I guess we can't use stream avatars today because I don't remember what I'm doing.
It's too late at night for this.
Yeah. Next time. I'll look back and do it. And again, we don't I don't mind. We don't have a super active chat. And I'm like, is that our fault? Yeah. Should I be doing more stuff to get people engaged? But most like if they just want to listen, that's okay.
Yeah. You guys can engage with stream however you want.
Yes. Lemon boy.
Lemon boy.
Alright, water. Candy in my mouth. Let's go. Outside the anemone. Chase was vaguely aware of someone calling his name. He sighed, burying his face in his arms. He wanted to go back to sleep. And you know, definitely not talk to anyone. Ow! That got his attention. He lifted his head, peering out in between the anemone's tentacles. Jack? What are you doing? Jack was shaking his head, Sam hovering nearby. He winced. Checking up on you. You weren't answering, so he tried to see if you were still inside. Dude. Chase rolled his eyes. You got stung, didn't you? Jack hesitated. Maybe. As Chase sighed, he started to protest.
No.
You're alright in it. I thought I would be too. Like maybe it was a broken anemone or something. Yeah, no, if anything, it's better at stinging because it's so big. Chase stretched out, nestling back inside the web of pink strands. You might want to get that checked out. But I'm Clowny Boy, I'm fine. Damn it. Jack muttered, now rubbing the spot where the anemone stung him. Anyway, how are you? Chase didn't answer. He sat his head back down on his folded arms. Jack swam as close to the anemone as he felt safe to, Sam swimming around his head. Still not there, then? Shut up, Jack. Chase muttered. Jack opened his mouth to say something, but decided against whatever he'd planned. He settled down on the seafloor next to the anemone. It's been a while, right? Maybe she forgot. I know she might have forgot, Jack. Chase snapped. I know this is starting to get a little weird. I know I might be taking this too far. You don't need to tell me I'm horrible and weird. I already know that. I wasn't about to say any of that, dude. Jack kept his tone calm and assuring. Look, it's a very important time to you. And she was very important, too. And then, well, it didn't really get resolved, did it? Chase sighed, curling in on himself. They promised 4 or 5 years later. She didn't show up for 4, so we thought she would at 5, but then he thought maybe she just lost track of the year. Better go just in case. And then he thought maybe she was just busy. Better go just in case. And now he was perfectly aware that it was getting ridiculous. But he couldn't seem to stop. Maybe it was just habit now. Maybe he just wanted something to go right. Anything. I know things kind of suck, but you've been in there all day, Jack said gently. It's probably not good for you. I just wanted to see if you were okay. Good question, but Chase wasn't sure that Jack wanted the honest answer. I'm fine. Just tired. Really? Unfortunately for Chase, it seemed like Jack wasn't buying it. He lifted off the floor, hovering over the top of the anemone. Well, I'm guessing you don't want to go out, then? Maybe chill in the lagoon? Go to the reefs? Have you eaten anything yet? You could pick something up at the kelp for us. I ate something. Chase lied. I just want to relax now. Jack's eyes narrowed. Alright, hang on. I'll be right back. Sam, stay here. He turned around and swam away. Chase tried not to look too hurt at that. Well, he'd definitely be back at least. He wouldn't leave Sam alone. Chase buried his head in the anemone's tentacles. Fine then. He wanted to be alone anyway. Sometime later, something slapped against the back of Chase's head. Startled, he looked up to see some kelp slowly drifting away. And Jack was back, along with someone else. Chase, I swear to gods, if you do not eat something when I am here, I am going to shove it down your throat, Sheep said threateningly. Chase grabbed the kelp before it floated out of range. Good luck getting close enough to do that, he said. I can get past that. Do not underestimate me, Sheep warned. Maybe I'll find a stick and poke you until you get out. Good luck with that, too. Chase couldn't help but smile. You know I don't just eat kelp, right? Jack floated into view, picking up Sam along the way. Well, yeah. We didn't feel like digging up worms. Ew, no! Chase made a face. Don't confuse me with my clowny brethren. Chase laughed. Anyway, you eat that, and Sheep and I are going to hang out here and talk. Talk, yes. I also need to take care of that sting. Sheep started digging into his bag, the human-made one with the red cross. Because you are an idiot, Jack. Hey! Jack protested. You know it. You are almost as likely to get hurt as Jackie, and that is saying something. Sheep rolled his eyes. And you will still not tell me about that burn you had earlier. I can do that now, Jack suggested. He looked at Chase. Sam and I had a scare 2 weeks ago. You know, it started with a giant squid and ended with lightning. Do tell how that happened, Sheep said coolly. Did you swim upstream while Marvin was busy practicing? Nah. We were in the open ocean, one of the shallower areas, but there's this gigantic trench. It could have gone down 10,000 meters, and we'd have no idea. It was so friggin' dark. Chase stared up at the waves above as Jack went on about this adventure he and Sam went on. He watched the pink anemone wave in the currents around him as Sneap interjected Jack's story with comments about he should have known better, and Jack protested. A smile pulled at his lips. Maybe he didn't want to be alone after all.
I love him.
That's what it is.
I love him. I love a punch up. I love the movies.
Hell yeah. I love them too.
My VTuber actually looks like she was biting on the thing I got doing. Ah. I decided to do that in the most awful way. All for some mini peanut butter M&Ms. No. Squeedy boy.
Speed. Except not, because they have more tentacles.
You're right. Octopus boy.
Octo.
Octoboy.
Octo He's literally Dr. Octopus.
Oh my god! He so is!
Power of the
Ock.
sun in the palm of my hands.
In any of the stories has he ever, just one of the others ever called him Doc Ock?
I don't remember. If not, then I should have done that.
If not, I'm gonna have Alt do it.
Totally do it.
Or I'll go edit it so that he did it somewhere.
No, he should totally do it in the future so that they have a conversation about superheroes.
Yeah. And then bro will be jealous. Alright. Day 7.
I can't believe you taught mermaids about Spider-Man.
Yeah. What fish is Jack, just out of curiosity? He's a discus. So he's actually this one right here.
Yeah, fun fact about discus fish. I originally, when I started writing these stories, I thought they were saltwater. So I made Jack a saltwater ocean merm, and I made a whole big deal about how like there's like physical differences between them. And then I later found out the discus were freshwater fish, and I was like, well, shit, I'm in too deep now.
Yeah.
So discus are just saltwater in this reality.
It's another reality. You could change stuff here and there. But we're actually currently doing a roleplay in the Merman world, and Alt is a freshwater eel too. He's a ghost knife fish.
Ghost. Yeah.
And so like I was writing something about like them finally stepping in saltwater or in freshwater because they've been in saltwater this whole time. And then I was like, I had like a moment of like, wait a second, let me go look up what discus is. Yeah, knife fish, exactly. Very fitting. That's why I picked it. What was I saying? He had a moment where he was going in the freshwater, and I had a moment of where like I went to go look up at work. I was like, wait a second, are discus freshwater or saltwater? Because it seems like he's saltwater in the thing. So I went to go look it up, and I was like, oh, they're freshwater. Ah, no. Have I not had a chance for Alt to react to saltwater this whole time? Freshwater this whole time? I was like, kind of pivotal, because his boyfriend Oliver is a saltwater fish, so he's been fine. This is like exciting stuff that we like to write about. Roleplays, when you say it out loud, it's like, that's lame, why do you care? It's world building.
It's in the moment. In the world building, exactly.
It's fun. I was looking through Cry's tag to go show all the pictures they made of all the merms so that we could know what they look like. I saved them on my phone the other day, but
we are not on your phone.
I'm not on my phone. Did I scroll too far? I feel like maybe I scrolled too far.
Pacific octopus are usually this like, which is what Snape is. They're usually this this like reddish, this like sort of like reddish pinkish color.
Mm-hmm.
But like Snape, I wanted to make him unique.
Oh, here.
Yeah. So instead, he is like he's like turquoise, which is literally the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Freaking huge. Yeah. They are giant, and for that reason, Snape is the biggest of the boys.
Hey, where'd it go? I just had it.
They scale proportionally.
There we are. Okay, so this is Jack.
Oh, wrong. Man, I used to do so much art.
Yeah, and here's Chase. And Jackie. Imagining this little thing is like wrapped around his dorsal fin. Sheep.
What, like
a little hoodie thing.
Oh yeah, that's originally this is just dyed kelp, but eventually he does get like a woven hoodie.
Oh, okay. I want to try to draw that. I've been wanting to draw the Merboys more than just the promo I did. Marvin. Such a pretty
Marvin.
boy. Jameson, I love his little pose here. He's so dapper. I love that it looks like he's like wearing like a bow tie almost.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to, like, I knew they're like merms. They don't
Yeah.
have, like, bow ties and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wanted it. So I was like, I made it possible.
And Auntie, the
By
little
viewers
Auntie
like
boy.
you,
I love that
thank
he
you.
looks like he's wearing gloves.
Yeah. Him and Schneep, too.
Really don't remember Schneep. Oh yeah, no, you're right. I mean, of course you know. You drew them. I love Auntie being an electric eel, by the way. That's also another reason why I picked Alt as a knife fish, because they are also a type of electric eel. They're not as strong as electric eels.
Yeah.
But
They can't shock you, but they can, like, do, like, echolocation, basically.
yeah. But like Alt has electric magic anyway, so he can shock people whenever he wants.
Exactly.
Alright, let me get rid of this, and we go back. Alright. The rescuer. Jackie could tell something was wrong. Oh, wait, no, we need to change musics. To the scary one. There you go. I'm glad I read some of these in advance. Wait, can Auntie overload Jackie's senses with electricity? Sharks have electromagnetic sensors in their nose for hunting. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh.
I did not.
Time to write a new Mermay story.
If I had the time / energy, I would.
Even though I'm pretty sure after 5 years, Auntie's reformed.
Oh yeah, he has like a whole reformation thing going on. It's
I know,
actually,
I'm excited to read.
I actually really like it, but right now he's in his edgy phase.
Hell yeah. Maybe I'll write a guest fic.
Hell yeah.
That'd be super fun.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. I have guest fics I need to I get so overwhelmed trying to figure about working on Switch Drop because I can't even write my own shit.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Angrily eat M&M's.
Angrily eats M&M's.
Writing is hard. For me, at least.
Freaking Aaron Hansen one day, like I remember just seeing, he was like, writing is easy because you just do it, and I was like, you're not a writer.
Clearly, you're not a writer. Because like I was sitting here like I want to do it, but there's literally
you're not a writer.
There's literally every like for me it's like such an intention thing. It's like I have to be in the right mindset and I have to be in the right like space. My new job helps me out a lot because it's like quiet and I'm kind of forced to like be there on the computer when I'm not doing stuff. But then lately I still have access to my phone. So today I was just scrolling Instagram. When I remember last night when I left, I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna write. I'm gonna finish up this chapter, and then I didn't. Because I was also at a point where I was in waiting mode, technically. You know, like ADHD waiting mode where you're like, just like, I have to be somewhere later. So, like, I can't do anything before then. I did that while waiting to go from one job to the other. Because I have a weekend job, and then I have my day jobs. My day job is I work at a college. And my weekend job is I work, like, 15 minutes away at an art place. So, like, I was in waiting mode knowing I had to leave exactly at 3:30 to go to my art job. And so even though I had, like, 3 hours of work today that I could have spent writing, I was like, I have to make sure I'm ready to leave by 3:30. 3:30! I can't do anything else! So I scrolled Instagram for a while.
Exactly. This is why it always frustrates me when, like, my family's like, okay, we're going at this time, and I'm like, great, and I'm, like, sitting around waiting while they just, like, continue to get ready.
I would love so much if my body didn't do this to me, where I'm stuck in waiting mode, because it gets so frustrating, because it's like, I want to do other things. I don't want to sit here being bored and scrolling on my phone. But, like, my body cannot accept doing anything else because I know how distracted I get. It's like, I know I can easily pull myself away, but what if I don't? What if this is one moment where I get super full into what I do, and then all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock and I'm 2 hours late, you know?
Me, to be fair to like, that does happen with me. The other day, I almost didn't leave work on time because I was playing Cookie Run Kingdom. Luckily, there was the only like downside of that was that like I got paid for like 20 minutes more. And honestly, my bosses don't care about like that as much. But yeah,
that's why I set alarms.
That's why I set alarms.
I usually set alarms, but even then, like my brain's I'm just stuck. I need to look up to see if anyone knows how to get out of that because I hate it. It's like in my head, I'm so good at scheduling stuff, and then in the moment, I'm like, nope, because I know I wanted to be at work early today because I wanted to get like an extra 0.7 hours because I can only work 9 people work 5 hours a week. So if I work any more than that, then they have to pay me health benefits, and they can't do that because I'm part-time. Yay, America. But
yay, America.
I wanted to be there that extra minute, so I was gonna wake up early and get there. Nope, I couldn't get out of bed. I was too comfy. It's too sleepies. And so I ended up being later than I wanted to, but then, like, that sucked because I had to leave at a certain time. Anyway, ADHD woes, writing's hard. I didn't get to write today. I'm working on it.
We're working on it.
Alright, the rescuer. Jackie could tell something was wrong from here. He was approaching one of the Merm settlements, or at least one of the few Merm settlements that was a home to more than 10 people. This particular group often migrated, but they set up permanent places of residence to stop by. According to their patterns, there should be here this time of year, but he couldn't see anyone. He should be able to see some of them swimming around from here, but there was nobody. He approached the settlement cautiously. He could see the houses built into the sand, mud bricks stacked in circular buildings, except the buildings were not as neat as they had previously been. Walls were shattered, some houses collapsed in on themselves. Neat rows of coral gardens were torn up, frows plowed in the seafloor. There we go. Jackie stops on the outskirts, gaping at the damage. What happened here? It couldn't have been humans. They were nearly 1,000 meters below the surface, in an area where it was twilight all the time, and in the middle of the ocean too, no land even in sight. There's no way humans would come down here. Predators? He wasn't aware of any in the area, or at least none that were a threat to this particular kind of merm. Jackie shook his head, swimming into the settlement. He could see easily this far down, and his eyes scanned the ruins. Hello? Is anyone there? Jackie called. He peered inside the doorway of the mostly intact houses. His eyes widened. In the shallows of the building, he could see 2 merms floating, lifeless in the water. Holy shit. He swam across the way to another house. Inside, a similar site. This time, he went into the building looking over the bodies. One of them was a merm from this pod, easily identifiable since they were the same merm species as the rest. The other, Jackie swam a little closer. She looked like a barracuda, perhaps. What was she doing here? Both of them had injuries, presumably the causes of death. Jackie examined a couple more buildings, finding both merms from this pod and the barracuda merms. What was this? Was this some sort of territory dispute? Eels weren't common in this environment, though. There was a small noise nearby. Jackie tensed, twirling around to look at Jackie tensed, twirling around to look at it. Silence. Then another small noise. He saw the remains of a collapsed house start to shift. Quickly, he swam over. Hello? Can you hear me? The rebel started to shift more. He could make out a tiny form somewhere inside. Hang on! I'll get you out of there! Jackie started pulling at the rebel, lifting brick and throwing them through the water, until eventually he uncovered a tiny mermaid. Just a child, judging by the size and gray tail, as opposed to the spots of the adults. The mer girl blinked up at him, then flinched and shrank back. Hey, it's okay, Jackie said, keeping his voice soothing. I'm here to help. Your tail is still stuck. I'm going to free it, okay? He waited for the merle girl to nod and then slowly swam around her, lifting up a long support, freeing her tail. She wiggled forward into the open and then he dropped it. He smiled, keeping his mouth closed so she wouldn't see his shark teeth and freak out. You okay? The mer girl nodded. She was shaking, her eyes wide as she looked around the ruined settlement. What's your name? Jackie asked gently.
My name is Myred.
Mayred? Mayreed? Mayreed? Mayred? Mayreed?
Mayred, I think.
Mayred.
I think it's Mayred.
My name is Mayred.
I never pronounce it out loud.
Yeah, she said softly, voice trembling. Here, let me look this up. What?
Look at the sturfy shape I just drew.
Mayreed. Wait, we don't look at AI overview here. I don't trust you. Mulraid? Moraid? Moraid? Moraid?
Moraid also makes sense.
Morris? Moraid. Moraid sounds right.
Yeah.
My name is Moraid.
She said softly, voice trembling. Moraid, that's a pretty name, Jackie said softly. She smiled a bit.
Thanks.
Do you know what happened, Moraid? Jackie said, looking around. You don't have to tell me you don't want to, though. Moraid looked around as well, shaking her head.
My mom told me to go inside. She said things were going to get dangerous. There was noises, fighting. I looked outside and there were strange merms. Some of them put green glass things in the brick cracks, and then I went to sleep.
She hugged herself.
And when I woke up, I heard two of the strange merms. They were shouting at each other, and then one of them told the other one to go away forever. And I hid in, and when I thought they were gone, I tried to leave, but I was stuck.
She was taking in big gulps of water, tears starting to form in her eyes. Hey. Jackie slowly inched forward. I know, that must have been really scary. But they're gone now. They can't do anything anymore. He paused. Do you want a hug? Mayra nodded and barreled into Jackie's chest. He oofed at the sudden force, but wrapped his arms around her, holding her close.
Where is my mom?
She asked. I don't know, Jackie said. She might have swum away. He doubted it, but he wasn't about to say so. Hey, I know some people nearby who could help you. Would you like me to take you to them? After a moment, Mayra nodded. Jackie nodded back. Alright then. They're another pod, but they're some ways away. We have to swim a while to get there. Are you okay with that? The small merc girl nodded, pulling away.
I'm a good swimmer.
Really? That's great. Jackie gently took her hand. Come on, I'll show you the way. They began swimming. I'm not sure if scary music fits for this part, so let me go change to the other one. I gotta have 2 intensity of music set up every time we read a story now, so I can switch in between them for like fantasy maps and stuff.
That would be. It has been like really helpful.
Yeah, it really sets the mood. If you have music that doesn't match the tone, it's like, ooh. I know I was reading the one with the trench, and I was like, oh, this peaceful music is not fitting, but maybe my voice is frantic enough. Wow. Okay. Washed up. Marvin hovered near the water surface as he swam around the lake perimeter. The sun was warm on his back as he checked for anything new. Nothing so far. But he was coming up on one end of the rivers that flowed into the lake. It would sometimes bring new flotsam with the current. At first, that's what he thought this new thing was, a bit of flotsam. Some kind of fabric, he guessed when he saw it at the bottom of the lake, right where it met the riverbed. He sighed, diving down to where the lumps was on the floor. But as he got closer, he realized his first guess wasn't entirely exactly accurate. This thing looked a little bit more organic. He paused. Was that a tail? Merman closed the distance, swimming more slowly now. Yes, it was a tail. It was a merm. Apparently having come from one of the rivers that fed into the lake. That was odd enough by itself. Usually merms came in from the sea, swimming upstream through the river that flowed out of the lake. He approached with caution. Hello? The lump at the bottom of the lake suddenly flailed. Merman backed up instinctively to avoid the lashing tail. After a few moments, the flailing calmed, and the new merm, a stingray by the looks of it, stared up at Marvin with wide eyes. Hi. Marvin waved a bit, fins drifting in the current caused by the motion. Who are you? The stingray shook his head. He crouched against the lake floor, tail swishing from side to side. His eyes were fixed on Marvin, wary. Okay, I'll start then. Marvin tried inching closer, very, very slowly. But the stingray's tense, so he stopped. My name's Marvin. Welcome to my lake. The humans call it Lao Baintree. Baintree?
Baintree is how I pronounce it in my ear, in my head.
In my ear. Lao Baintree.
Shut up.
The stingray flinched, lowering closer to the sandy floor. Okay, are you alright? Anything I can help you with? I'm no medic, but I got some magic aids if need be. The stingray raised his head a bit, and then Marvin noticed it. There was a bit of rope around the stingray's neck, tied tightly, knotted in the back. The end was frayed as if it had been cut. That doesn't look good, Marvin commented. Marvin gestured at his own neck. Do you need any help with that? There still wasn't an answer from the stingray. He narrowed his eyes, tensing up. But before he could do anything, the current shifted. The stingray's eyes widened, and he turned to look behind him, down the river. Marvin looked as well. Somewhere in the distance, there was a shadow on the water. A boat. Suddenly, the stingray surged forward, grabbing Marvin's arm. Marvin yelped as the grabbing motion bunched up some of his fin. He glared down at the stingray, but his sharp comment drained away as he saw the expression on the merm's face. Wide eyes, suddenly pale. He knew enough to identify signs of fear. Marvin softened. Is it the boat? The stingray nodded. Alright, if we go deep enough, they won't be able to find us. You can come with me if you want, Marvin offered. Another nod. Come on then. Marvin adjusted the stingray's grip so the two of them were holding hands. Then he started swimming towards the center of the lake, guiding the stingray with him. The lake was 50 meters at its deepest. When they went further down, the waters became cold. The stingray drew close, shivering. Marvin flashed a smile, trying to be reassuring. It gets better. There's a warm spring at the bottom. As they got closer to the bottom, it did start to warm up, though the waters grew darker. I'm pretty sure I went to go look up when I was reading. 50 meters is like hell big.
Yeah, I don't think I really cared about consistency.
Yeah, it's 164 feet.
Yeah.
And considering that the average man is 6 foot, divide that by 6, I can't do that in my head right now. I'm a streamer, not a mathematician. But it's pretty damn big.
I'm a streamer, not a mather.
I'm a streamer, not a mather.
As I went further down, I already read that. Until Marvin finally guided the stingray to his little home at the very bottom. It's not much, but it's home. Oh, hold on a second. Marvin swam around the wide room, looking through the various stuff he had stored. He found a spare piece of preserved kelp, as well as a stylus that could be used to write. He handed these both to the stingray, who floated to the floor of the lake, lying down. Here, Marvin said. I guess you don't want to talk, or maybe can. Either way, you can write down your name for me. The stingray hesitated, then took the writing device. He tested them out first, finding that the stylus would leak a black dye when it was pressed down hard enough. He then started writing, the letters large and janky. When it was done, he showed it to Marvin. My name is Jameson. Jameson, huh? Marvin nodded. Nice to meet you. You need anything? Like, I don't know, help or something? Jameson hesitated. He looked upwards as if he could see all the way to the lake surface. He scribbled down something else. Will the humans find us? Marvin chuckled. We're down too far. I don't think they even have anchors that hit the bottom of this lake. He stopped. Something had occurred to him, and a smile spread across his face. But if you're still nervous, I have something that could convince them to leave faster. Stay right here. He turned and swam out of the house. Jameson stared after him, confused. But while he was out, Jameson looked around the small stone walls. It actually wasn't that small, but still felt tiny. But cozy, with the collections of magical items and various cool things Marvin had found and decided to keep. The glowing sea stars felt welcoming. After a while, Jameson's eyes landed on something on one of the rock shelves. A blade made of sea glass. Strange it would be here, far from the beach, but it would do. Jason quickly shot over and grabbed it before retreating to his spot on the floor. A few moments of careful sawing later, and he managed to cut through the rope around his neck with minimal damage, just in time for Marvin to return. Hey! Marvin was pushing something along the lake bed, something large and round. He grunted, rolling it into the house. A large, almost perfectly smooth stone, bigger than a basketball, its gray surface curved with runic symbols. Marvin grinned, tail flicking excitedly as he grabbed his mask from a nearby shelf. I've been waiting for a long time to use this. He pulled the mask on. So many nights storing energy in this thing. You cool with driving these guys away? Davison inched closer, curious. Upon hearing Marvin's question, he nodded. All right. Marvin dropped to the lake bed, wrapping both arms around the power stone. He took a deep breath and his eyes started to glow. Slowly, the stone started to glow as well. Up on the surface in the sky above, the already cloudy day started to grow darker. Gray rain started to fall. Suddenly, thunder rumbled. Astonishingly quickly, the surface of the lake became choppy, throwing the one boat on the surface about, tossing it like a children's toy in a bath. Back in the depths, Marvin sighed. His eyes faded to normal, though the stone continued glowing, and he drifted to the lake floor. That can run on its own energy for, I believe it's 169 minutes. He smiled tiredly. Even if the storm doesn't drive them away by then, they'll certainly be in no condition to search the lake. Damon's eyes were wide. He scooted a little closer to Marvin, creeping across the sandy floor. He grabbed the writing utensils and asked, Why did you do that? Marvin shrugged. Why not? I've always kind of wanted to. This seemed like a good time. He smiled. Besides, if you freaked out upon seeing them, there's probably a reason for it. Jameson rubbed his neck and nodded, shadows in his eyes. Where are you from? Marvin asked. Do you want to go back there? I don't think I should, Jameson said. That's fine. You can stay for as long as you want. If you still can't talk, we can figure out a way for you to communicate without it. Jameson stared at his other merm, the angelfish who lived alone in this lake. He had no reason to be so kind to him, yet he was. As if it wasn't any trouble at all. After a moment, Jameson smiled at him. I think that would be very nice.
Yeah. They're great. I love them.
Now we go to spooky music.
Back to the spooks.
Oh, this is perfect.
Also, I'm done with all the fish.
Good fish. I give them all pets.
I love Auntie's little face. Pat, 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 pat. Pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat. Pat, pat,
Aw.
pat. I like the little snoot on the shark and the fish.
I mean, they have snoots. I looked at the reference. They all have snoots.
Very boopable. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop.
The only ones who do not have snoots is our octopi.
Jameson,
Because they are
Marvin,
extremely
Jack,
cursed creatures.
Chase, Jackie, Auntie. Pat, 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 pat. They are very cursed.
There's a reason Lovecraft was like, hell is an octopus, actually.
So you guys want to know a cursed fact that Cry informed me of? Do you guys know what are inside of stingray wings? Bones.
Bones.
So many bones. It's fucking sick,
Yeah,
actually.
Google sting.
Okay,
Yeah,
if you're like scared by skeletons, look away. What? How do they bend? It's so cool. Okay, so stingray skeleton. Like, it's kind of freaky, but it's also really cool. Like, there's so many of them that it's like it can bend on its own.
Exactly. It's like, imagine like a bunch of fingers together. That's, I said that very cursed. Anyway, yeah, look at this.
Why can't
This is canon. to the world. I don't know, why did I say canon?
Yeah, look, that's what their stinger looks like too. God, it's so cool.
Their stinger is bone. It's bone. And then they shed that bone.
Yeah, so you can see the outside of they're like, I like to think of it as like a bat's wings. You know how like they do have like bats kind of have fingers, except instead of having just like 4 or 5, it's hundreds. It's fucking cool as hell. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's a 27-inch alligator. Whoa, look at the seahorse!
Kind of. Yes.
I thought it was going to show me the
kind of skeleton.
grass skirt kind of skeleton. God, they're so cool.
Anyway, yes.
Anyway, that
seahorse are basically like all skeleton. That's all they are.
I never knew that. But yeah, no. Now you know. Now you know a fun fact about stingrays.
Yeah.
I didn't think when I thought about their skeletons, but it wasn't this. Yeah, so like I didn't know about it either till Cry told me in our roleplay. And we were all like, what the fuck?
You probably thought their wings were like fins because like
yeah,
like freaking
I think I
fish fins, like they're not a thing.
I probably thought they were like cartilage or something, because that's like how I always like.
Well, they are.
Hmm?
Do you mean like our ears?
Yeah, like bendable.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, it's hard to move our ears because we don't have a lot of muscles in there.
Yeah. Anyway,
to get like the range of movement for a stingray needs, you need
bones.
You need joints.
I hate that. Bendy bones.
Bendy bones.
Bendy bones. Okay. Spooky story time.
Yeah.
Hunter's Moon. Nighttime in the ocean was dark. The waters were pitch black except for the seaweed that glowed at the bottom. A school of large silvery fish floated through the midnight waters, passing over a deep crack in the sandy ocean floor. A hand darted out of the trench, grabbing one of the fish from the school. The rest of the school scattered as the merm shot out of the trench, managing to snag a second fish with its claws before they all swam away. The merm snarled. Electricity raced along his tail, curling over his back and down his arms, shocking his prey. The fish stopped struggling, now stunned. The eel retreated back into the trench, proceeding to tear apart the fish with his claws and teeth. A moment later, the eel returned to the open ocean, though he stayed close to the floor. He blinked glowing eyes and started off heading in a specific direction. An hour later, the eel poked its head above the water, then immediately ducked back down. After a few moments more, he peeked out again, squinting. Even the moonlight hurt his eyes, and he could tell the shoreline was close by. He felt it, sending out electric pulses that reflected off objects, returning to him with information on their positions. And now, he had visual confirmation. He disappeared under the water, swimming closer to the shore. There's a group of hunters on the beach, or humans on the beach. Very different. He popped out of the water, seeing them, sitting in chairs around a fire. What were they doing? You could tell they were talking, but what about? It didn't matter. He wasn't there for them. He went back underneath, swimming along the shoreline, following its curve. Soon, the soft sand became rocky, and the ground rose up into several cliffs. A series of cliffs. It was there where he felt it, a small cave at the base of the cliffs, underneath the surface of the water. He felt around the edges of the entrance and then slipped inside. There's another merm here. One of the bigger ones must have been over 8 feet long, and they were sleeping, their back facing the cave entrance as they lied on the ground. The eel grinned and pounced. But the other merm wasn't as asleep as they appeared. The moment the eel attacked, they jolted alert, and suddenly there were claws flying. For a moment, the two of them tossed around the water until they managed to push each other away, now at opposite ends of the underwater cave. "What are you doing?" the other merm demanded, gills working hard. The eel growled. You came into my territory, hunt my prey, and you asked me what I'm doing?" He laughed, as if it's not obvious. "We don't have to fight about it." The other merm tensed, not lowering their guard. "I'm sure a barracuda that doesn't want to fight," the eel said scornfully. "Oh, are you the one that got banished from the rest of its tribe? Because you couldn't handle the hunt?" What they were doing wasn't hunting. I couldn't stand it. Weak. The eel glared scornfully down at the other merm. The sea will eat you up, if I don't first. A smile twisted across his face. The other merm realized they weren't getting out of this without a fight. They growled, baring their numerous sharp teeth. Who the hell are you? My brother is clapping.
I can hear it.
He's like, yeah, go Auntie, woo!
Kill that man!
Kill that man!
Mods, kill this man.
Chat, kill this man. The other mermaids realized they weren't getting out of this without a fight. They growled, baring their numerous sharp teeth. Who the hell are you? My name is Auntie, but you won't live long enough to use it. And Auntie darted forward. For a moment, the two of them seemed evenly matched, but just for a moment. Soon, Auntie managed to wrap his tail around the other merms, his arms pinning theirs to their side, and his eyes started to glow brighter. Electricity ran along his tail, heading up the rest of the body. It grew in intensity, lighting up the entirety of the cave. The other merm screamed. And only a few minutes later, Auntie was back outside of the beach, trying to watch the group of humans without looking directly at the firelight. One of them was holding something in their arms, some sort of instrument. They were strumming it and singing. Some of the other humans were singing along. Some were groaning and shoving each other, but still smiling. Why were they doing that? For a moment, Auntie considering throwing himself out of the water, climbing on land to tear these humans apart. Their smiles were making him angry. Angry, and he didn't know why, but he wanted them gone. But then he shook his head. Bad idea. He'd have to drag himself back into the water before he dried up. And they'd probably be gone soon. It wasn't worth the effort. And they were far away. It wasn't like they'd be going straight down into his trench, not like that stupid green merm he'd seen a month ago. And that merman immediately fled too, so it wasn't like there was any harm done. But why were they doing this? Why were they happy? Auntie stayed to watch them. They looked like they were having fun. They looked like they weren't worried or mad about anything. That was... He couldn't find a word for it. Interesting? No. Something heavier. Something that weighed down in his chest. He watched them until they left, and then he turned back, returning to the dark depth down below. I like a height chart. Look at the one angsty boy, yeah.
Very angsty.
Steepest is tallest and the tiniest is Jace. Look at him, little baby. Pats for all of them. Okay. Ooh, this one's fun.
I think this is the last one I read before I stopped. Back to joyful music. Or at least peaceful music. I think we'll read maybe like 2 more stories.
Sounds good.
Alright, this one's called Beach Day.
The board quick question. What is with the mermaids in both your AUs being so tall?
Cause fish are long.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at like the if you like actually hang on a sec. This is a perfect example is like the eel I drew down here.
Yeah.
This electric eel. If you look at it, this is all where all the like this is where everything important is. This little section right here. Hang on a sec. Let me actually like. This is the important stuff of the electric eel. The rest of this is all for like swimming and electricity making.
Yeah.
Fish are huge, man. They're very long.
And for me, I know that for Stuff Nautical, I wanted them to feel human, but also be proportional to, like, the size of the actual fish. So, like, cuttlefish are pretty small. So Jameson is, like, 7 foot, 6 foot. So, like, slightly bigger than humans because, like, in order for you to, like, swim accurately as a like, have you ever, like, watched, like, people with mermaid tails? Like, usually the fins, the caudal fins on mermaid tails are still a lot longer than your feet go. And I like to think, like, professional mermaids, like, the way their tails are made, like, that's how you would kind of be as a mermaid if you were, like, you know, having, like, regular tails. So for me, I can go to Subnautical right now and talk about it.
Yeah.
Though it's been like, God, like 3 years since I did these. Open up! Open up! Okay, well, I'll just zoom in. That's fine. Alright, so for these guys, they are trying, I was trying to be proportional to how they are in the game. So, Jamie's very, very small. But I was looking at this the other day and I was like, I should have made their tails shorter and their torsos all the same, because their torsos would be all the same. It'd be their tails that are longer. But Jameson just looks like he's been shrunk. But he's slightly taller than humans. They actually have a picture with him and Ollie where you can see that he's slightly bigger, but not by much compared to humans. But I wanted the other ones to feel like, I don't know, because when you think of mermaids, you think of like them being bigger than humans, I think. Because, you know, you see a shark and sharks are so much bigger than you. So it's like, being a mermaid, I feel like it would reflect that. Especially for like Jack and Auntie, based off of Sea Dragon and Sea Leviathan, the biggest things in the game. Like, I think it'd be pretty big. They're Leviathans, it just makes sense. I was just curious. Yeah, no, I'm also like trying to like rationalize into my head too, because like I think that it's been a couple years since I did this, you know. But like, you know, I wanted Jackie pretty big, but Stalker seemed pretty like, he's like, Schneep is older, so I wanted him to be older, but Chase is also smaller because Rabbit Rays are really small. Marvin's pretty big because I don't know, I love Subnautical. I love Subnautical a lot. Oh yay!
I do too.
Poke spingies.
Fungies.
I love it too. I do, even if I take big hiatuses, I love it a lot. But that's why I'm doing the revamp, so hopefully I can keep working on it all year and we can get better stories. It's actually really funny. The whole reason I wanted to start the revamp is like, number one, it's been a while and I know I'm a better writer now. And like, Jury, I miss working with them, but they were only here like the first year. And I don't plan on rewriting any of their stories because theirs are still really good. But like, there's a lot of like when I was first starting to write Subnautical, it was like, I was writing so fast. And I feel like I made a lot, I feel like I can get so much more detailed, and like I didn't get as dark as I wanted, or like, you know, I was always so afraid what other people thought. And like that, I mean, we did get a lot of really good stories because I got like a lot of like feedback from people, and a lot of people like, you know, sending me asks for stories and stuff. And I'm hoping with the revamp we'll start getting that again. But like, I don't know, I just feel like there's, especially once I did like the big chart with all their ages and like how old they were during stuff, it like really recontextualized the whole story. And when I originally wrote the story, I kept thinking they were all around the same size, even though I knew that their birthdays would be at different times. And like, that's why I chose to have, like, when I made their ages, it was based on the vibe that they gave me. And I was like, Chase feels like an older brother. And, you know, Jackie and Marvin and Jameson, they seem like the younger brothers. Okay, where would Jack and Auntie be? And Sheep. Okay, they'd be in the middle. Who seems like they're older? Sheep would be older than Auntie. Jack would be older than Auntie. So, you know, and just like kind of played with it for there. Like, how do these guys feel in my head? Like, and not based on like actual stuff. Because I felt like I wanted to change it around. Because it's like, in other stories, like Jackie's always the oldest. Because he is the first ego, and then Marvin. And it's like, I just don't see them being... I mean, maybe like Ultraverse Marvin is definitely more of an older brother kind of situation, but back when I first wrote it, definitely not.
Yeah.
He definitely seemed more spunky.
Ultraverse Marvin has...
Yeah.
Ultraverse Marvin has such only child energy.
Yeah, for real.
Jackie, Ultraverse Jackie gives me like vague little brother vibes.
Yeah, he feels like he's like the youngest of like 5 siblings.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why that's happened. But like when I was first writing the story, it's just like, oh, they're all little at the same time. And it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense because their birthdays would be out of order to make the older brother dynamics. And it took me a couple years to actually, like, sit down and actually, like, figure out how the hell that worked. Because I was, like, always like, you know, just go with vibes. And that just doesn't work because, like, the age you are mentally would really change the scenarios you're in. Like, when I wrote Auntie getting captured... Also, we had Auntie getting captured way early in the story because, you know, we wanted an evil Auntie.
Evil.
But, like...
Yeah.
I don't feel like we gave you enough time to, like, even like him, you know? I feel like we didn't develop the characters enough for everything that happened, and all of a sudden, all this stuff is everywhere. So that's why I really want to revamp it, so I could, like, recontextualize a lot of stuff. But also, like, when Jack gets captured, like, I think... When Jack gets captured again, I think that... Auntie in this AMU trauma, yeah.
Oh, yep, so much.
You think that I would remember this chart, but no, I have to look at it constantly. When Jack gets captured, he is Jameson's mentally 6.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No wonder he doesn't remember him that well.
Mm-hmm. And Marvin and Jackie are about 8-ish. Schneep and Auntie are about teenagers, and Chase is 21. And like,
man, that makes sense why Chase is the one who's most attached to Jack. Just like in general.
Yeah, they grew up
they're like around
the
same
longest
age.
together. Actually, like, I feel like when Jack was born, or when Chase was born, he was alone for like, God, Chase was alone till he was mentally 8, which was about a year. Chase was alone for a long time. He was alone for like a year and a half.
I'm surprised he's not... Actually, you know what? That explains a lot about him.
Yeah, no, it really does. And then, Jack came and it brightened up. Like, the whole reason I wrote in the hybrid logs is that Jack saved Chase from depression. And they grew up the longest together.
Man.
And then, like, when Schneep was introduced, it was about 6 more months later. So, like, they had a long time together, and then, like, before Jackie, and then really quick after that, they met Auntie. And then there was a really long time in between that, about 9-ish months, I think? Because the tank intro is here, and Auntie's here, so he's 3. Yeah. So about 6 more months later, Jackie and Marvin come in, and then in like a month, Jameson's gonna be there. So you can see why everyone kind of like babies like Jameson because he's the newest one, but they also baby Jackie and Marvin because they're also really young still. Steep is really attached to Jackie or really attached to Jack and Chase because he's known them the longest, but he's also started to really get attached to Auntie because, you know, he's probably the most prone to getting injured in the meantime. And then Jackie shows up and it's even more. It's just like, there's so much more recontextualization with, like, having their ages actually figured out. Like, you can see that Chase has taken it upon himself to take care of everybody because he is the oldest. But Jack is, like, second in command, you know? And I don't know, Auntie always gave me bratty little brother energy, so that's why he's like 4th youngest.
No, makes sense. Makes sense.
Snape always seemed really responsible, so yeah. I'm really excited to rewrite a bunch of these things. Like, I'm gonna rewrite when Jack gets captured. I'm gonna rewrite when Auntie gets captured, all of that stuff. Like, Sheep in the Mes. I don't know if I'm gonna rewrite Sheep in the Mesmer. That one's pretty good. I think I'm gonna rewrite Warp Mode Marvin. Definitely just Jamie and Auntie one. I don't like that one at all. I don't like it. I wrote Auntie being a bully and then everyone being okay with it. Like, that's not okay.
I don't even remember that one. That goes to show.
Yeah, it's an ask. It was like, can we get some? Jamie's had it too good lately. Can we get some angst with Jamie? And it actually has a really pivotal plot point at the end where Jamie hears the discs in Auntie's ear and knows that that's how the white suits are controlling him, which is really pivotal to when they meet up again later, because that's when Jamie blasts him in the face. And that's why in his reference, Auntie has that spiral scar on his face. Because I don't know why, when I imagine blasters working in the water, which also might be another thing I need to recontextualize, but like, I don't know, maybe Alterra just has, because there's a weapon ban in Alterra. Like, you're not allowed to make weapons, which is why, but like, also they have like heated knives and stuff, so like, I don't know, maybe Alterra made guns that just kind of burn underwater.
Who knows?
Maybe they made ones that only work on the hybrids because they're not considered human, so therefore they're not weapons. I don't know.
They're not like, that's the same logic of being like, no, this isn't this is a cattle prod.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna rewrite more of the split because that just happened. We didn't even write about the consequences after it. I'm gonna redo Marvin's capture arc. I'm gonna make it longer. I'm gonna make it more angsty. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah.
And then hopefully by the time I'm done revamping, I'm hoping it will be done by the end of the year. Skin sensitive to laser. Yeah. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll be feeling better about getting back to the refugee arc. Well, the refugee arc and also Marvin's Below Zero arc, which I need to work on too. But like, I feel like the recontextualization is better. But I also am sad because I really wanted to write Penny and Cora and Robin, but I'm really excited with what I have planned. I think it all makes good sense, and the Below Zero arc actually is gonna be pretty important. So. Anyway, ranting about Subnautical, sorry. If I rant about it, then I get more motivated to work on it. I love it. Alright, we're gonna do Tumblr stories.
Yeah.
Alright. The boardwalk was wildly busy that morning. Tourists were bustling about, oohing and awing at the open ocean and the boats lined up along the docks. They'd take pictures of themselves standing in front of the stores, buying souvenirs and eating treats. The locals in their boats were well used to this and went about their business. Nobody noticed two heads poke out of the water at the end of the pier. "You're not looking this way," Chase said. He grinned. "Come on!" He ducked under the water, swimming closer. "Chase, hey!" Jackie hurried to catch up. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" "Of course!" Chase nodded enthusiastically. "The only ones who'd be looking directly down to the water are kids, and the adults aren't going to believe them." Jackie didn't look quite convinced. "What if they think we're big fish? What if my dorsal fin sticks out of the water? They'd freak out, wouldn't they? I'd freak them out, wouldn't I? They'd think there was a shark, and who knows what they do when they're scared. Just stay down a bit, it'll be fine," Chase said reassuringly. They arrived at the end of the pier and was now circling around one of the dock supports. "I've been people watching for a while. It's not too hard to avoid them," he smiled. "Come on, you want to do something fun. This is what you get for letting me choose." Jackie sighed. He peeked out of the water, eyes scanning the boardwalk. "What are they doing?" Chase poked his head out of the well. "I think some of them are on vacation." "Vacation?" "Yeah, they take a break from work and go see places they've never seen before, to do new things. Some of these guys must live farther inland, so they're coming to see the ocean." "Oh," Jackie nodded. He could understand that. "So we just watch them? And listen." Chase watched the tourists stroll across the dock. "I like to guess what they're talking about, where they're from, what they do." He dropped a little bit lower in the water. "That's not creepy, is it?" "I don't think so. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Watch the fish instead? At least you can understand these guys." Jackie backed up a bit, looking at the pier. Besides, some of these guys are doing that anyway. He pointed out groups of people sitting on benches, clearly watching the other passerbys. Chase looked a little reassured for that, regaining his enthusiasm. "Alright, if they're doing it," he bolted, swimming across the bottom of the pier. "Oh, you can see their shadows under here!" Jackie laughed, easily catching up. It was nice to see Chase so happy, even if he didn't quite understand why. The day passed. The two merms darted out the water, hiding in the shadows under the dock. Chase would tell Jackie the names of the human stuff he'd seemed curious about, and they'd make up stories about the humans passing on the boardwalk. Occasionally, one would toss bits of water in the food. Toss bits of food in the water, trying to attract fish, but once they'd lost interest, the two merms would snatch it up, though Chase always said it tasted better dry. But still, Jackie wasn't the type of person to stay idle for very long. He grew restless and started playing a game with himself. Hover on the surface of the water just behind the human who was looking away, and then duck back down just in time to dodge their gaze. Over time, he got more bold, sneaking up closer to the docks, splashing about to draw their attention just before vanishing underwater. Chase noticed this when Jackie decided to pull himself away. Jackie decided to pull himself halfway out of the water, practically half climbing up one of the dock support pillars. "Jackie!" he hissed, poking his head out of the water. "What are you doing?" "Dude, they're totally oblivious," Jackie chuckled. "I mean, yeah, but they have cameras," Chase said. What? They're these little devices that can take a photo, which is like a drawing that's super real and captures all the details. Chase glanced up onto the boardwalk. They're getting smaller. I think they started to combine them with cell phones, so now everyone has one. Combine them with what? Jackie shook his head. "Look, I'm being careful." "Are you?" Chase asked. His eyes darted around, because I don't think you... He turned around, and immediately froze. Fuck. Jackie looked behind him as well. There was a boat drifting in the water, a name written on the side in human lettering, and peering out the side of the white boat was a human, who was very clearly staring at them and gaping. "Abandoned ship!" Chase gasped, ducking underwater. "What?" Jackie looked over.
What?
What the fuck? What? What's a ship?
I'm kidding,
What are you saying? That doesn't fit here, Chase.
They would definitely know what a ship is.
Yeah. What? Jackie looked down at him and then up at the human, then started to follow Chase. The human shook their head. "Wait!" Like an idiot, Jackie paused. He looked back up at the human. "I'm sorry, I just... Oh my god, is this some publicity? Water. Is this some publicity stunt?" The human laughed. "Like, are you putting on a show later, or..." The words were confusing Jackie, and he froze as he tried to process them. He knew a few human languages, but there were a few weird words in those questions, and he couldn't quite grasp their meaning. But he understood that the human wasn't being hostile. They seemed more confused than anything. Curious, and perhaps being a bit too bold, Jackie swam closer to the side of the boat. "Oh my god," the human gasped. They leaned back, running a hand through their curly blonde hair. "No way. No fucking way. You're really a... Oh my god." Jackie felt a tugging on his tail. He looked back down and see Chase trying and failing to pull him underwater. He flicked his tail, easily shaking him off. And then he reached down and pulled Chase to the surface by his arm. Chase yelped, "Chase, come on, don't be a guppy." "Shut up, I'm the one that introduced you to that phrase," Chase muttered. He tried to dive back under, but Jackie pulled him back up. "What are you doing? Seriously, we need to get out of here before you tell someone." I think if he was gonna do that, he'd be doing that already. Jackie looked back at the human. "He's just kind of staring at us." He's in shock. Let it kick in, and he'll start screaming. "You don't know that. She didn't start screaming, did she?" Chase stopped trying to go back under. He glared at Jackie wordlessly. "Sorry, low blow, I know," Jackie admitted. "But my point stands. They don't all freak out. Why are you so worried? You speak human." "I'm out of practice," Chase muttered. "Hey, the human cleared his throat. "This is kind of a lot to take in, I won't lie. But I can't understand your weird fish language," he laughed nervously. "Can you understand me?" Jackie nodded. Chase shook his head. "Both of those answer my question. Anyway, hi, I'm Ollie. The human, Ollie, looked behind him, grabbing something. "I was supposed to meet my friend, Isabel here, but she canceled on me just now. But I got her this." He held up a small plastic bowl of some kind of food, a plastic spoon shoved in it as well. "I don't like vanilla, so I was gonna throw it away, but do you guys want it or something?" Chase's eyes widened. "Never mind, we are staying." Jackie laughed. "Sucker for food, huh? Bro, take it. Try it. You'll understand." Jackie shrugged and reached up out of the water. Ollie leaned down awkwardly and passed him the plastic bowl. Jackie looked it over, holding it in both hands as he treaded water. He pulled the spoon out and looked at Chase, who made a scooping motion. Catching on, Jackie scooped up some of the food on the spoon, taking a bite. Oh, ice cream, the ultimate peace offering. Yeah!
They don't have ice cream underwater. Yeah. It's impossible.
It's impossible. Is it possible for anything to freeze too deep underwater?
Unless you use magic.
I remember I had to look that up for other roleplay writing purposes. Catching on, Jackie scooped up some of the food on the spoon, taking a bite. His eyes lit up. Oh my god. I know, right? Chase grinned. It's called ice cream. It's literally the best thing in the world. One of the things that these guys do right is the food. You guys like it? Ollie asked. Jackie and Chase nodded in unison, and he, strangely enough, relaxed. Alright then. You guys can chill here. I won't bother you. He backed away from the edge of the boat, sitting down. Jackie and Chase, meanwhile, swam back underneath the pier, taking turns finishing the ice cream. Once they were done, Jackie swam back over to the boat and tossed the bowl and spoon back onto the deck. He heard a noise of surprise from Ollie, who looked back over the edge of the boat in confusion. Jackie laughed, backing away. Ollie shook his head, smiling, and returned to his seat. Still so eager to leave, Chase? Jackie asked. Chase considered this, though not for very long. Nah, he's cool. He glared at Jackie again. No more trying to get spotted, though. Aw, alright. They hung around the boardwalk until the afternoon, and then went home, smiling and laughing. Somehow, they didn't think anyone would be finding out about them today. Ooh, this one looks interesting. I don't know anything about this one.
Ooh. You haven't read this far?
Mm-mm.
This is a flashback.
Ooh, should I change the music?
If you'd like.
Do you think
it's not like too menacing in terms of the scare factor of something called the laboratory?
Yeah.
But it is.
Is it more
slightly
tense?
Menacing?
It is slightly menacing. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
Perhaps.
My throat is starting to hurt, so it's definitely one last one.
Yeah, last one. Maybe we do more next week. Who knows?
Yeah. Can't believe how fast May is going by.
I know, right?
It's like I blinked and we're halfway through the month.
Exactly.
Alright, the laboratory. Aren't octopi, like, not fish? What? Well, I mean, they're technically celiopods. Why? The two humans were standing in front of a tank of water a little smaller than the average bedroom. One of them was mopping the floor around the tank, though he'd stopped to chat with the other one, who was taking notes on a clipboard. So, I mean, doesn't that change the whole myth aspect of it? The mopping one asked? The whole half-man, half-fish thing? Well, yeah. The writing one shrugged, but who knows? Maybe there are other ones who take the form of other marine species. Besides, this isn't really fully a cephalopod anyway. It's some weird combination. We're still looking at the DNA. Huh. The human man dropped his mop, walking closer to the glass. Staring beyond into the water, there was a creature huddled in the corner, tentacles sticking to the glass. It might have been mistaken for an ordinary sea creature if you overlooked the rest of it, which rather looked like a human from the waist up. The human man tapped on the glass. Don't do that, John, the other human said, not looking up for the writing. I'm trying to concentrate. The human man looked over his shoulder at her. On what? What are you even taking notes on? Doesn't even matter if it does anything. He turned back around, again knocking on the glass. Hey, tentacles! Can you understand me? Or are you just a fish brain? John, I said not to do that, the human woman hissed, looking at him from her clipboard. Inside the tank, the creature had raised its head. It's now glaring at the pair of humans, its tentacles changing color to a darker shade. Whew, look at that! The human man looked delighted at his reaction. I knew octopi could do that. He banged on the glass more, pressing his face close. Hello? What are you doing that for? Do I scare you, huh? Tiny fish brat. In just a few seconds, the creature managed to lunge across the length of the tank, launching himself at the human man. The man yelped and jumped backwards as the creature smacked against glass, tentacles suckering to the tank wall. It banged on the glass with a fist, mouth moving, but no sound came through the thick tank. The human woman laughed. Serves you right. She looked down again, writing something new. Be careful. It managed to break the first tank we put it in. You wouldn't know that since it's your first day in this particular lab, but you could have. I don't know, easily ask me anything you need to know. Jesus, the man muttered. I wasn't expecting to be so big. 220 centimeters long, the woman commented. 230 across, with its tentacles fully extended, though it doesn't spread them out in full very often. Wow. The man watched as the creature eventually sank back to the floor of the tank, still glaring at the two humans, mouth still moving in something that looked like almost like words. Can it talk? No, the woman said shortly. It can make sounds, and I guess it almost sounds like a language at times, but its vocal cords aren't adapted for speaking like us. She paused. Though maybe it could have practiced. Who knows? There were catwalks suspended above their heads, connected to the top of the tank. As the two humans below talked, footsteps thudded across the metal above. A group of three other humans were approaching the tank, chattering among themselves. The creature inside heard the footsteps and looked up, its color fading back to normal. What's this? The man asked, intrigued. The woman looked at the group above. Well, it should be pretty self-explanatory in the moment. As she said that, the group began dumping fish into the tank, pushing them through the grate on the top, which was big enough for this express purpose. The creature quickly inside, swam to the top of the tank, grasping the grate. It managed to squeeze a hand through one of the holes in the grate, fingers clenching. The other humans adjusted for this, moving a few feet down one of the catwalks to avoid the hand. The creature seemed to sigh as it pulled its hand back, settling down on the bottom of the tank. When a fish drifted close enough, it reached out and snatched it, biting into the side. Oh, I see, the man nodded. What's the lid? Great? Take a wild guess. The woman rolled her eyes. There are at least 3 instances in which it managed to climb out. Of course, it didn't get much farther beyond that, but still. Better safe than sorry. Ah, shouldn't you be cleaning? I can do that later. I don't have much else to do that today. The man continued staring at the tank, watching the creature. The creature glared back at him, then turned around and hunched over as if trying to hide. Not like there was anything to hide at all. Regular escape artist, huh? Huh, Mel? You have no idea. The woman sighed deeply. You know, the water pumps to the tank used to be bigger. We had to shrink them down because one time it managed to pry the gate open and squeeze inside. We thought it was too big for it to get inside since it was too big for a person, but apparently its collarbone is weirdly flexible, and also it doesn't have a pelvis or any lower bones. So that makes it able to fit inside smaller places. It also inked up the water so we couldn't even see this happening. She shook her head. Honestly, one day it's going to get out and we're all going to have to deal with it. 5 years later, in a cave in a deep coral reef, Schneep suddenly jolted awake, gasping for oxygen. It was just a dream. Just a dream. He wasn't there anymore. He didn't want to be inside the cave right now. It was large, but not large enough. He needed open space. So he easily climbed through the entrance under the rock, spreading himself out in the sand. He sighed deeply, looking around at the bioluminescent surroundings. Full of life, and completely empty of boundaries. No more people watching, no more schedules, no more feeling of constant hunger. He was okay. He was fine. Steve glanced upwards towards the surface. Maybe one day he'd go up that high again, without the others. But only once he was sure they'd forgotten about him. Ooh, I like it. Very fun.
He has trauma!
Trauma! Ooh,
I mean, eventually, eventually they all get... I really challenged myself in the first, in this first little bit to, do every single combination of the boys.
I like that.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Eventually they all get, traumatized with laboratory stuff.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, lab stuff is fun. Points at all of our AUs.
Points at our AUs. Why am I getting ads on Instagram for a dark chocolate cookie except he's a cat?
I've seen that for Shadow Milk, and he's honestly kind of adorable, but I'm also like, I don't need this because it's probably a dropship thing.
It's probably super expensive as well.
Yeah. That's definitely where we're going to end for the night. I want to keep reading, but my throat hurts so bad, so we're going to stop.
Yeah.
And it's midnight for us. So, come by next week if you want more Mermay. I'm going to work on putting VODs up for a lot of our other stuff. And tomorrow, we're going to play Raincode and maybe something on Sunday. So, hope to see you guys then. Bye!
It'll be fun. Bye.